Hi class, for this short video I want to introduce to you another text for diagnosing mental health conditions. As you're aware, this semester we've been reviewing the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, DSM for short, published by the American Psychiatric Association. However, worldwide, clinicians use the International Classification of Diseases, a manual that comprises both mental health and physical health conditions. This manual, the International Classification of Diseases, is published by the World Health Organization. It's promulgated free of charge. The intent is to identify the shared language across the world in categorizing conditions for data collection and for research purposes. However, in America, the American Psychiatric Association has published its own book, the DSM, for diagnosing and treating conditions. You can see here from this webpage from the World Health Organization that the ICD-11 has currently been released. It was published in 2018 and will be put into practice in 2022. So now the current ICD-10 is currently used. Let's take a look at the manual itself and we'll contrast it, one diagnosis to a diagnosis in the DSM. On the left-hand column, you'll see a list of physical and mental health categories. If we go down to number 6, we see mental, behavioral, neurodevelopmental disorders. If we click on mood disorders, we have our common bipolar disorder, depressive disorder. Let's go down to depressive disorders as an example, and then further into recurrent depressive disorder. Let me just briefly read this so we can see similarities and differences. Recurrent depressive disorder by at least 2 depressive episodes separated by at least several months, very similar to the DSM. A depressive episode is characterized by a period of almost daily depressed mood or diminished interest in activities, lasting at least 2 weeks. So this is all very similar, and accompanied by other symptoms such as difficulty concentrating, feelings of worthlessness, inappropriate guilt, hopelessness, thoughts of death or suicide, changes in appetite or sleep, psychomotor agitation, reduced energy or fatigue. You'll note that these symptoms are very similar to the DSM. However, in the DSM, to reach a conclusion of major depressive disorder, the client needs to meet 5 or more of those symptoms. Otherwise, we wouldn't make a diagnosis of major depressive disorder. We would instead use something like depressive disorder specified insufficient symptoms. So you might be wondering, well, what would be the advantage of using the DSM over the ICD-10 in diagnosing and treating conditions? The main advantage for us is that we LPCs, licensed professional counselors, speak to our colleagues, other LPCs, in related disciplines, psychiatry, psychology, clinical social worker, using the DSM. And so we need to be able to communicate with our colleagues. And so that is the primary reason that we're using the DSM here in America. As I mentioned, we diagnose using the DSM, and then we convert that into an ICD code and bill using an ICD code. I hope this has been helpful. Thank you.